Good morning, everyone. This is TractorMan 44. We're just going to jump right in here and get started. What you're looking at right here, I ran out of flat stock. I needed some 1/4 inch by 2 flat stock, and I know I had some if I dug around deep enough, but I was kind of in a hurry, so I just took some 2-inch angle iron, and I'm whacking right down through the center of that to make me some links of 2-inch stock, 2-inch flat stock, and you'll see why here very shortly. Um, During the video I actually explained what I was doing with this flat stock, and it might make a little bit of a sense. I thought I'd show you how rough I made the first couple of cuts with that plasma cutter. I still ain't the best in the world with that plasma cutter, but I'm learning. It's all a learning process with a new tool. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's get on with the video. I thought I would tie the frame rail, to the vertical on the gooseneck by putting this plate under here before I weld the gusset down underneath here and all the way back to the axle in a 2-inch strip. But what I wanted this for was whenever this side plate goes on, it's going to be a 1/4 inch. I want that plate to come right down to this right here and give me a bevel joint, because I'll grind this back too, on the plate, and then that'll give me a good full, I guess they'd call that a fillet weld or whatever you call it, but that's going to give me a full weld with a much better holding capacity. Because again, this is just nothing but a butt weld from this joint into here. So that's what this support's for, and then also the triangle plate. Well, I don't know about you guys, but to me there ain't nothing better than a good cup of fresh hot coffee in the morning and the smell of some good flux burning right off a 7018 welding rod, just going right up into your sinuses. Boy, I tell you what, that just makes my day. That means the whole day's gonna go good when it starts out like that. Now, unfortunately, what you don't see during these videos is all the prep work that's done. Virtually every weld that we make a pass, we have to chip the flux, and we have to take the angle grinder with the buffing wheel, and we have to clean them welds just completely up. You don't want any slag, any remnants of that flux and stuff entering the next pass of the weld. That creates a hole, which they call porosity, and it also makes for a weak joint. So if I was to show all that stuff, it'd be so boring and the videos would be so long. They're long enough as it is anyway, and these things usually start out about an hour or hour and a half, and I usually edit them down to about 10 minutes. So you're missing a good percentage of it, but like I said, a lot of it is just mundane and boring. But suffice it to say, it is fun. We're actually enjoying this project, even though it is a little bit costly and definitely time consuming. But it is what it is. We will get to the end of it sooner or later. And when we do, we're going to go for a test run and see what happens. I got a pretty good load of junk that's going to have to go to the junkyard. You know what I mean? It's very fortunate for me on the days that Tyler misses work. For being muddy or for whatever, because he gets to do all the prep work for me. That really saves a whole lot of time and just a lot of movement. I ain't getting any younger as the days go by, and crawling on them rocks on my hands and knees and stuff. Kind of takes a toll. After 7 or 8 hours or so, kind of get a little tired of it. But that's what we got them young guys for. Let them guys do all that hard stuff and keep all the gravy train work for us old guys. You know what I mean? Um, but at any rate, what we're doing now, we've got to finish up that front welding and clean that up before we put that very first front cross member there. Right where I'm making that weld right there, the cross member ties from side to side, and of course that jack, that center jack stand, actually welds to that cross member, and that's what, when you park the trailer, that's what supports it and everything. So and oh wow, I'd completely forgotten that I had edited out the actual installation of it, but here it is. It's in and tacked in place. I still got a lot of welding to do on it, and but that's a very critical particular piece all as well. Well, I went back into my deleted stuff and found the last little bit. that I didn't destroy of the footage of putting that front cross member in. So like I say, it's all the fitting and stuff was the difficult part. This here, the welding was actually pretty much the simplest. We're getting ready to do a little bit of plasma cutting now, and that's something in and of itself that's interesting. Now what I'm doing here, I'm laying out the an exaggerated triangle that's going to become the gusset that ties the 6-inch crossbeam that the hydraulic cylinder pushes the bed up with, from that up to the side rails. That's a pretty bad description, but you'll see it whenever it comes together, whenever we're welding it into place. But laying out these angles really ain't anything other than just laying out sheet metal. It's just thicker material is all. It's not a big deal as long as you can read a ruler and maybe halfway decently a square, you know. It's pretty simple. But we got to make 2 of those pieces here, and we're getting ready to fire up that plasma cutter. That plasma cutter, and I have to admit, I'm very new to plasma cutter. I've had this one for a while, but I've not used it to a tremendous amount. But it is absolutely remarkable as compared to oxygen acetylene or propane acetylene. This thing generates its own way of cutting or severing that metal, and all you have to have is an external air supply. The problem that you find in dealing with the different thicknesses of metal when you're cut is the proper air pressure. Now this one's got an internal regulator, and if you supply a minimum amount of pressure, the regulator will take care of and supply exactly what you need for the amperage at which you've got the torch set for cutting. It took me a little while to figure that out. I've not really messed with this thing all that much, but this is a pretty considerable project with a lot of torching, and just to save oxygen acetylene, and also to make much clearer, cleaner, slicker cuts, I've opted to go ahead and use this plasma on this particular project, and I am certainly glad that I did, because it is absolutely incredible. I should clarify too that in addition to your proper air pressure settings, what's extremely critical is also your amperage setting. Now there's a chart that gives you suggested settings for the thickness of the material, but there's other things that affect that all as well, like the condition of the material. Rusty material with big barnacles on the back has a tremendous effect on it as compared to nice, clean, fresh, new material like I'm using here. But and like I said, the problem that I had is problems created by the fact that I don't have the experience using it. I'm expecting to get just a little bit better, just a little bit quicker, hopefully. And what we got the first gusset laid out and ready to tack on. Got to daub the back end off of that a little bit, and then Tyler's making the gussets that goes from in front of the front shackle all the way up and overlapping this gusset up here, and covering that box seam. So he's got that one and then the other one to trim up for me, and then we'll be ready to stick those on as soon as those are done. But and then this front cross member, that was a bit of a fight, but we got that in there nice and square and plumb. And the next thing we can do is go ahead and weld the jack vertical to the center of that front cross member. So like I said, it's looking good, and so far it's within tolerance. Is it perfect? No, it's not absolutely perfect, like if it was jig welded in a trailer manufacturing shop. But you know, for us guys, it's going to be just fine. But we got our fingers crossed just in case. Now, if y'all been following along on the series, I do appreciate you taking your time to hang in there and watch. I know it's a little slow and tedious, but it is coming together. And before long, we'll be attaching that axle. Of course, it's got to be a little warmer weather. But for now, you know what? This is Trackman 44, and I am out of here.